commence this important and exciting launch of the Jamaicans Eat program. It's a technology competition, and then there's a training that follows, and I suspect the trainees are here anxious to get into that. Welcome to the University of Technology, Jamaica. My name is Garfield Young. I am Vice President, Operations and Projects, and I'm happy just to guide you through this short program this morning that will take us to the launch, to the training. I invite you to stand as we play the national anthem. I'm sure we all knew it, but I trust our technology person at the back.
We're all singing it. Let's sing it.
No. Are you ready? Or should we go?
Let's sing it.
2, 3. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guard us with thy God, keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us, the weak to cherish. Give us vision, lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father. Grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is our prayer, our constant prayer for our nation, Jamaica. Senator the Honorable Marlon Morgan, Parliamentary Secretary, Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, representing Senator the Honorable Dr. Dina Morris-Dixon, Minister of Education, Skills, Youth and Information. Dr. the Honorable Andrew Wheatley, Minister with responsibility for Science, Technology and Special Projects. The Honorable Franklin Witter, Minister of State, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, representing the Honorable Floyd Green as keynote speaker. Dr. Kevin Brown, President of AgriTech Jamaica. Dr. Derek Deslandes, President of the College of Agriculture, Science, Education and Case, Science and Education Case. Ms. Marion Brown, Vice President and Registrar, UTech. Professor Shermaine Barrett, Deputy President, Provost, UTech. Professor Sean Thorpe, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing at UTech, Mr. Damian Cummings, Program Director of School of Engineering, UTech, representing Dr. Sharon Stubbs, who's the head of school, Dr. David White, head of the School of Computing and Information Technology here at UTech, Ms. Corinne Martin, Director of Jamaica Education AgriTech, Jamaicans Eat program. And Ms. Martin, you did say there's an S on the Jamaica? Yes, Jamaicans Eat. The vivacious Ms. Martin. Industry partners from the PSOJ, the JMEA, RADA, JACRA, and the Jamaica 4-H clubs. Other specially invited guests, students, members of the media. I should mention Dr. Paul Campbell, who I think is the driving force behind this launch and training program. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to UTech. You are sitting in LT 49 in the shared facilities at the University of Technology, Jamaica's STEM University, the right place to launch Jamaicans Eat, digitally transforming Jamaican agriculture. And Ms. Martin, if we are to actually do this in a sustained way, it's important that we have the young people involved. And as an academic, I've always found that competition is a way of incentivizing the involvement of young people. So we are happy to see particularly the young people from UTech, from CASE, and from elsewhere who will be involved in the training and in the competition. So welcome to UTech. The shared facility is our most used space, and if you're not familiar with it, you can see we have 2 exit doors in the front. There are 2 in the back too, if we have an emergency. And the restrooms are to this side for the males and to that end of the complex for the female. I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you about our space, but if you have opportunity to, after this short ceremony and you want to explore our campus, we'd be happy to accommodate. But it's happy to have you here at UTech. We'll get you through the program. I know there are many things happening simultaneously, including our president has another engagement. So we will get into the program. We have first the official welcome by the UTech president, Dr. Kevin Brown. Please make him welcome.
Thank you so much, Professor Young, our very able MC, but also a vice president for operations and projects. So we're after a rousing start. Maybe the tech failure there with the anthem was fortuitous because I realized we have a choir here this morning as well, right? So that was a fantastic start, and maybe we should launch ourselves, give ourselves a name and get on the circuit and start singing around Jamaica. But I am really pleased to be here because we have some special guests. Some of them are new members of the government, others not so new, but certainly with portfolios that matter to us at UTech. So I'm really pleased to welcome Senator Honorable Marlon Morgan, the Parliamentary Secretary in our ministry, the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information. That's the parent ministry for our university. So thank you so much for coming to this event and supporting us, representing Minister Dixon. But I'm also pleased to welcome the Honorable Andrew Wheatley, who is now the Minister who's responsible for Science and Technology. Science and technology is what UTech has been doing for close to 70 years. And we look forward to working with Minister Wheatley in his new portfolio as we drive the STEM agenda in Jamaica. I also wish to acknowledge and welcome our keynote speaker, the Honorable Franklin Witter, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. And Minister, agriculture is changing. And I hope today you will see that technology is the new frontier for agriculture, and this is a technology university. And along with our partners at CASE, we will be moving the needle on agriculture. I was speaking to Dr. Wheatle this morning, and I believe that with the infusion of technology in agriculture, young people will become more attracted to pursuing agriculture as a career. And so I want to welcome also Dr. Derek Deslandes, President of the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, or CASE, one of our partners on this project. As you know, CASE is the premier agriculture college on the island, and so we're really pleased to have them as part of this initiative. Let me acknowledge other heads of entities, other senior staff members in various ministries of government. Thank you so much for being here today. From UTech, we have our Dean for the Faculty of Engineering and Computing, where this project resides, Professor Sean Thorpe. And I see other deans, heads of schools, program directors, and I want to welcome you and thank you for supporting this event. Agriculture cuts across all the disciplines that we offer at UTech. But we're also really keen to progress applied research in this area, and I see our AVP for Graduate Studies and Research, Dr. Paul Ivey, here as well. Thank you so much for coming. Other members of staff, special guests, students, welcome. And that is really what I've been asked to do, so maybe I can sit down. But I just want to share a few brief remarks before I take my seat. I'm really happy that we are here today to talk about AgriTech, agriculture technology. And this project is called Jamaica Education AgriTech, or Jamaicans Eat. And the brainchild behind this is Corinne Martin. And Corinne, I don't know, I say brainchild, it's her passion. I don't know, maybe I should be calling her Sister Corinne, because we have been speaking so often trying to get this project off the ground. And I must express my gratitude, Corinne, to your sheer force of nature, right, to bring us all together. And I want to, again, refer to Dr. Deslandes, who, when we called him, without taking a breath, said, I'm in, let's go. So I want to thank you, Corinne, for this great idea, and we look forward to progressing it here at UTech and CASE. And many of you should know that UTech is Jamaica's STEM university. And so we are fully aligned with the goals of Jamaicans Eat in terms of agri-technology, right? Our institution has been harnessing science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, before STEM became this buzzword, right? That's what we've been doing. Our first graduates in engineering was in 1961. That's before we became independent. So UTech has a strong pedigree in engineering, a strong pedigree in computing from the 1970s. One of the first computers was right here, the size of a classroom. Of course, these days, it's more like your mobile phone these days, right? The small pocket computer. So we are very much the right institution to be pursuing this along with CASE. And it is especially fitting to be launching Jamaica's EAT program today, October 16, because it's also World Food Day. And I know many of us here are foodies, right? That's part of the Jamaican culture. So this is probably Jamaica Day all over again, right? And this day invites us to reflect and to act with urgency on global issues we face. We have food insecurity. This morning we're talking about the fact that Jamaica imports so much of its food, right? There's climate resilience and sustainable farming that are now emerging as urgent challenges that we need to discuss. These are realities that affect us right here in Jamaica, And we have certainly seen the impact of climate change. We have seen what severe weather can do. We had Hurricane Beryl recently, and we saw how it wiped out our agricultural belt in St. Elizabeth. How do we develop technology that can make us more hurricane resilient? And right here on our campus, we also have issues with food insecurity. We have many determined young people who are doing everything right. They're studying hard, they're showing up for classes, they're building a future, yet still they are not able to find their next meal right here on this campus. And we have been working with the Grace Foundation since 2019 in partnership to offer a food bank through our Connect Food Bank initiative. And so this initiative provides meals packages for students. At the moment, the program supports students at UTech, UWI, and Edna Manley College for the Visual and Performing Arts. And at UTech, only 250 students are benefiting. But when you think about it, UTech, our total population of students is around 12,000. We accept around over 3,000 each year. So 250 means that there are still many students who are having food insecurity on our campus. So I want to take this opportunity to say to us all that we welcome other supporters, partners, whether in government or privately, who wish to support this food bank, who wish to partner with Grace Kennedy Foundation to expand the food bank so that we can really tackle food insecurity on campus. The Jamaicans Eat Initiative is also a competition, and it's very important for us to recognize that. There are many things that we're aiming to achieve, but it's also a competition. It is a capacity building program that will train the next generation of innovators poised to transform Jamaica's agriculture sector. So we will have 30 students. I see some of them streaming in. 30 students from UTech and CASE that will be involved in hands-on training, including hydroponics, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, solar energy systems, manufacturing, computer-aided design. So this is AgriTech, right? This is AgriTech. This is where technology and agriculture will meet, and we will train the students. Corinne, I'm sure, will tell you more about it, and they will compete for some wonderful prizes. And some of these designs will be implemented across high schools in Jamaica. So over the next 2 years, and sustainability of these projects is very important, we will be sustaining the project, building prototypes, and validating them. So I want to just remind us that tertiary institutions like UTech and CASE play a pivotal role in advancing applied research and innovation. And I was discussing with Minister Wheatley the need for the government of Jamaica to invest in applied research, providing the funding for my very brilliant academics to solve Jamaica's problems. And I trust Minister Wheatley will go and bat for us if he's a cricketing man in terms of lobbying for that funding so we can unleash the talent here, just like any other country, and spend that research funding on working on solving our many research challenges across Jamaica. So I wanted us to end by saying to the students who are going to compete that this is your moment. Many dignitaries are here today because they believe that this initiative is important, not just to UTech and CASE, but to Jamaica. And you are not just here to build a hydroponic system. You are reimagining how Jamaicans can feed itself sustainably, right? You are going to be thinking more deeply and intensely about how the country adapts to climate change, and you're going to be the future innovators. So I want to encourage you to make full use of this opportunity, push boundaries, test and refine your ideas, and collaborate with your mentors and peers. The work you do here will have a lasting impact. So I want to end by just thanking again Corinne and her team, Project Blue Mountain. She's actually from Microsoft as well, so don't be fooled. She's a computer scientist in her own right. But she has decided that she is determined to give back to Jamaica, and I can't stop recognizing that commitment. But I also want to thank Dr. Deslanes as well and your team, right, for joining this program. So I look forward to seeing the creativity and the ingenuity of our students as they present their final projects. So let's go. Thank you so much.
You heard from the UTech president, our first alumni president, and Dr. Brown. You mentioned that Ms. Martin is giving back. Dr. Brown was away for a number of years, I think 20 odd, and he has returned to also give back to his beloved nation. And Jamaica is a special place. I grew up in the Blue Mountains, and every time I drive towards UTech, I look in the mountains and wonder, why am I in the plains? But we can plant almost anything in our yard, even in Kingston, and it produces. So we really need to solve the food insecurity issues we face as a country. Today is October 16, and Dr. Brown mentioned it's World Food Day. The theme for today is Hand in Hand for Better Foods and a Better Future. And for sure, we have a role to play. I'm happy to see the Case students have filled up the empty seats. Welcome, Case. You're coming all the way from Portland, so we understand. You had to navigate the Kingston traffic, but we're happy to have you. We're going to have some remarks. The first from the Director for Jamaicans Education AgriTech Program, Ms. Corinne Martin, and to be followed by the representative for the head of school, Dr. Shalon Stubbs, and Mr. Damian Cummings will represent Dr. Stubbs. And that will be followed by Dr. Derek Deslandes, the president of CASE. And then I will announce the others. So please welcome Ms. Corinne Martin.
And I'd like all of the members of the EAT team to join me, please. It is just amazing for me to be here today. This project has been 2 years in the making, and I can't tell you how elated I am to see all of your faces. And CASE students, thank you so much for taking the extra long trip to make it here, not just today, but tomorrow as well. So thanks in advance for your participation. So I guess I should first follow the standard protocol and thank all of our dignitaries for joining us. So the Senator Honorable Marlon Morgan, the Honorable Andrew Wheatley, the Honorable Franklin Witter, and a special thank you, though, to Dr. Kevin Brown and Dr. Deslandes, because without your support, we definitely would not be here today. So thank you so much. And then I brought the members of the team up, the EAT team up as well, because what I'm going to do now, since Dr. Brown was so articulate in describing all of the particulars of the program, I'm going to skip that and not reiterate it, but tell you a little bit about the journey and how we got here. So, a little bit about me. My mother is Jamaican, and there are two things, well, more than two, but two primary things that she instilled in me. Manners and education, right? And so I was very fortunate when I grew up in the Bronx as a poor little girl. I went to really great public high schools, and I wound up going to a school called Bronx High School of Science. And it was STEM before STEM was even a thing. And then because of that fantastic education, I wound up going to Stanford University, where I have a degree in industrial engineering. So, of course, as you know, as students of UTech, in case, that of course informs your entire trajectory, right? So stick with it. It makes the world of a difference when you have that degree, especially a technical degree. And especially for the women in the audience, for the women of color in the audience, it really, really is very beneficial to have that as something you could show your, just your level of knowledge, your credibility. It speaks a lot. So having gone to Stanford, fully aware and desirous of giving back to my Jamaican community, and this is part of the reason why I'm here. The other piece of the genesis is that it's a very interesting story, at least I think so. So my partner Gary and I, we were literally watching YouTube one day, and we saw a gentleman creating a hydroponic system from recycled plastic Coke bottles. And there's something about it that just struck me as being particularly innovative and something a Jamaican would do, right? Like, that's something a Jamaican would do. So I ultimately did some research, and I found Ricardo Chambers, who is actually driving an effort to modernize Jamaican agriculture through the introduction of hydroponics. And so on a rainy Sunday morning, Gary and I met Mr. Chambers on his farm, and I was so impressed by the way he articulated his vision around modernizing Jamaican agriculture, but also empowering youth and women. I was very, very impressed by that. So I went back to work, and I was ultimately pointed to Nicole here at UTech. And then she pointed me to Dr. Campbell. And then he pointed me to, Yekini. Okay, Yekini, who's not here yet. And then ultimately, Dr. Brown pointed me to Dr. Deslandes, who pointed me to Jocelyn. And so I'm really making a point of sharing the path, because one of the things to keep in mind just in general is you don't necessarily know how to get from A to Z, right? You just have a vision, like this is the thing that I would love to do. So I decided, just given everything that Dr. Brown has said about agriculture, climate change, et cetera, that hydroponics integrated with technology would be a way to bring young people back into the agricultural fold. And here we are, right? It's just been fantastic. So don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid if you don't know, literally, all of the steps between A and Z, because things will unfold, definitely. Let me see what the other points. Oh, so today and tomorrow, what's the next step? It really, and Dr. Brown, you touched on this as well. We're going to impart to you the knowledge that you'll need to design hydroponic systems integrated with the technologies, IoT, solar, pulling all of that IoT information into the cloud, automated monitoring and management. All that information is going to be imparted to you over the next 2 days. So as university level students, you know it's going to be intense. But we will feed you. So don't worry about that. And we'll give you water. But we really need you to bring your A game, right? We really need you to bring your A game. And Jamaica, I personally know, has some of the brightest, most capable people in the world. And so I, like Dr. Brown, just to echo what he said, I'm anticipating fantastic designs. The other point I want to make while I'm up here is that these systems need to be commercially viable because you're going to be sending these systems out to high school. And you don't want anything that's going to fall apart that the high school faculty are going to have to waste a lot of time maintaining. So think innovation, think reliability, think sustainability. And also, this is, and again, Dr. Brown, you're so fantastic. This is not the end goal. What you're going to do also is continue to iterate. Even after you develop your systems, the goal is that you will continue to think about how to make agriculture better in Jamaica. And as you will ultimately engage with those high school students that are using your systems, the idea is to impart your knowledge to them as well so that we can continue the growth exponentially. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to say, but I also want to reiterate that I am just so happy to see everyone here, and I am really excited to, I'm deeply anticipating all of the fabulous designs that you're going to come up with. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.
The Honorable Dr. Andrew Wheatley, Senator Marlon Morgan, the Honorable Franklin Witter, the Dr. Brown, our President here at the University of Technology, Dr. Derek Deslandes, President of CASE, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to our faculty and academic staff, students. I want to also acknowledge the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing, Dr. Sharon Tarp, and also a Master of Ceremony, Vice President Professor Garfield Young. Good morning. So my name is Damian Cummins. I am Director of Civil Engineering here at the University of Technology, and I am representing Dr. Shellan Stubbs, who unfortunately, due to previous travel arrangements, was unable to be here this morning. So it is with pride and enthusiasm that we stand today to celebrate this event, to partner with the other entities in this venture. The launch of the Jamaica Eat program. Securing our food is about securing our future. Securing our future is securing our tourism, its resilience, and less susceptible to external influences, right? So we can reflect back in just 2 years or so ago when we had a COVID pandemic, and it influenced a few things, even in terms of our imports. We find that we saw how fragile our tourism industry was, even in terms of securing food on a day-to-day basis. So it is fitting that we launch this initiative designed especially to transform Jamaica's agricultural landscape through technology and innovation on this day. Jamaica Needs program represents a powerful convergence of education, technology, and agriculture. 3 pillars essential to Jamaica's sustainable development. This initiative directly addresses the climate change and food security challenges that our nation faces. Challenges that have been amplified by recent extreme weather events and devastating impacts we have witnessed through our agricultural sector. The Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries and Mining has demonstrated exemplary leadership in sponsoring this hydroponic competition, recognizing that our response to agricultural vulnerability must be rooted in innovation and climate-smart solutions. We are grateful for this partnership and the ministry's commitment to equipping the next generation with the tools necessary to build agricultural resilience. This program exemplifies the transformative potential and collaboration, the partnership between AgriTech Jamaica, the College of Arts, Science and Education, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Jamaica Eats team, gathers diverse experience and resources to creating something truly impactful. Our students from both institutions, AgriTech Jamaica and CASE, will work side by side, learning from one another and from industry experts as they design scalable hydroponic system that will ultimately benefit many high schools across Jamaica. This collaboration extends beyond institutional boundaries. It bridges the gap between academic theory and practical application, between traditional agriculture methods and cutting-edge AgriTech solutions, and between current challenges and future opportunities. Hydroponic technology offers Jamaica a pathway towards greater agricultural resilience in a controlled indoor environment, crop shield from damaging effects of floods, hurricanes, winds, and soil degradation, challenges that have cost our agricultural sector billions of dollars in recent years. These systems conserve water, use efficiency to produce higher crop yield and require less physical labor compared to traditional methods. As we develop these automated hydroponic systems for deployment in secondary schools, we're not only providing infrastructure, but also planting seeds of innovation in the minds of thousands of high school students who will engage in this technology. We are creating a pipeline for future agricultural technologists who will view farming as a profitable and impactful and exciting venture. As engineers, we are trained to solve complex problems through systematic analysis, creative designs, and practical implementations. The School of Engineering at AgriTech Jamaica has a strong record of STEM-related research and teaching, And we are honored to be a key partner in this initiative. This collaboration represents an important step towards strengthening Jamaica's STEM curriculum with emphasis on agricultural application. We believe that by engaging our students in such critical and innovative programs, we will generate greater enthusiasm toward agricultural science and achieve greater student enrollment across the board in STEM-related courses. Our graduates will be equipped not only with engineering fundamentals, but also an understanding of how technology can address the real-world challenges. So again, congratulations to the Jamaica E-team, led by Director Corinne Martin. I thank all the participants, partners, and supporters for making this launch possible. And I invite everyone present to join us in an exciting journey as we transform Jamaica's agriculture through technology, one hydroponic system at a time. Thank you. And may this program yield a plentiful harvest of innovation, knowledge, and sustainable food security. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cummings. There's a QR code on the screen. I don't know what surprise it holds, but I invite you to get your phones out and see. I think it may be the program. We're happy to have the president of CASE with us, Dr. Derek Deslandes, and I invite you, sir, to bring remarks.
Dr. Brown, when you invite me, you must make sure you say brief remarks, because I can go on and on. But let me just start with the protocol. So Dr. Brown, President of UTech, and we have been having quite a bit of conversations around how UTech and CASE can work together. Senator Morgan, and happy to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, but looking forward to working with you, Presenting Minister Dana Morris-Dixon. Minister Wheatley, and we are former colleagues of UWI way back in the day. Minister Witter from St. Elizabeth, Corinne, St. Elizabeth, right. Certainly a pleasure to see you today. And of course, Corinne Martin. All other protocols observed. Let me say that when I got the call from Dr. Brown, it was a no-brainer for me. Why? Because this is a journey that CASE has been on for the last decade. In fact, CASE has been building hydroponic and aquaponic systems for the last decade. We built one for Gavin-Maceo recently, and for Ebony Park, we actually built an aquaponics, which is fish and vegetables. A year ago, we have donated systems to the prison, Spanish Town Oval, Carrying Hall High School in St. Mary. So we have been doing a bit with our limited resources. So, I must endorse the notion of more funding for applied research, because that's basically what we're doing. So a lot of our emphasis at CASE is on improving the lives of Jamaican farmers, because that is our core, we regard as our core responsibility. And so we train practically all the agri-teachers in the high school system. So every high school with an agri-teacher is a CASE graduate. So when you put these systems in the high schools, you're basically have to work with the CASE graduates. They're already there, implanted. And they're fully trained, I must tell you. And we try to ensure that we expose our students in everything that we do. This call was important because if you saw the case presentation at Denby 2025, you'd have seen that we have actually pivoted to focus on automation. And Justin will share with you. So everything we're doing in that case, we are looking to see how do we automate. So we have been actually doing models of automation for hydroponic systems. We started working on it already. It's something that we've been trying to work on. We're trying to automate our goat operation. We're trying to automate our pasture management, looking at systems that can use satellites to determine when you graze a cow. So you start to minimize the need for labor, which is a major problem in agriculture today, at this very moment. And a core part of why we're doing this is because for us at Case, the question of productivity is a major, major, major issue. And we have determined for a few years now that the only way that we can move the needle in agriculture is through productivity improvements. And that can only come from technology. This is because when I compare, for example, and I give some simple examples, our cows are producing milk 7 liters per cow per day. I was in Wisconsin recently. The cows are giving 60 liters, 45 liters. What is the difference? The improvement in genetics, for example. So Case has become the leading genetic supplier for goats in Jamaica over the last 3 years. So we have taken a deliberate step to ensure that we are part of the leadership of the process of transformation of the agri-sector. So for us, this is a no-brainer. And that's why you'll find 52 Case students here today. It's not by accident, because the students are integrally involved in what we do. The research that the students are doing is also very important. And we could carry more now, just that the money kind of tight, so you know. So we are very excited about working with UTech on this. And there are other areas of collaboration that we think are important. Again, I make the point. While we emphasize and we focus on tourism, it is important to understand that we have to feed those tourists. The nature of tourism has shifted in the last 20 years. When I started doing research in tourism, a small farmer could supply a small hotel. We had 200 rooms, 300 rooms hotels. When the Spanish returned to Jamaica, as we call it in the academic world, the second invasion of the Spaniards, we saw the shift. So instead of a 300-room hotel, you have a 3,000-room hotel system. No small farmer cannot supply to that. So we have to change the way we produce to meet the challenge that we are facing. And the only way to do this is technology. Now, Corinne spoke about 100 schools. We are way beyond. We're not thinking about 100 schools, actually. We're thinking about disrupting the system. We're thinking about shifting farmers away from greenhouses, right, into hydroponic systems that are more efficient, that are more efficient both in terms of water and terms of use, that reduces labor, but also produces a lot more. And you can adjust for hurricanes. I can tell your colleagues, I have 18,000 square foot of greenhouses that are still flat on the ground from burial. Ministers, I need help. So we still don't have the resources to rebuild them. So every year that there's a hurricane, we start to worry, there's nothing we can do. We have also installed in recent times an agrivoltaic system, which is a solar power with agriculture. So you don't lose the use of the land. And in fact, we are in dialogue with JPS to say, listen, they have access for 30 acres of land to put a solar farm. We're saying, listen, we will give the land, but you have to allow us to farm beneath the panels. So you have to raise the panel to at least 10 feet so a tractor can drive on and plow and do what we're doing. So we're saying, listen, there is no need for you to displace. That's where the technology comes in, because and we're now testing with the JPSCO Foundation and the East West Power, the Koreans, we're going to plant corn and peas and ginger under the agrivoltaic system to see how the crop behave. Because the panels actually shift with the movement of the sun, so the shade changes over time. So we do not understanding now what do we grow effectively in an agrivoltaic environment. Now, if JPS is going to put up 200 acres, 300 acres of agrivoltaics, we need to be saying to JPSCO, do not do this in a way that takes access away for the land. Because the same land that JPSCO requires is the same land we require for agriculture. But if you were to work in a collaborative fashion, then you could still be producing crops underneath or grazing animals, particularly sheep. Don't trust goats. Goats climb and they create all kinds of problems. But anyway, so the recommendation is actually grazing sheep. But so you could still, that land could still be productive. So the technology is important for Jamaica to make that shift. We cannot compete with imports. It is a fact. It is the reality. And if I run a business, I want to have the most cost-effective inputs to my business. We have to compete. There is no way around it. If we're going to meet the needs, we talk about food security, I focus on food sovereignty. Because yes, food security involves being able to import what you want. Although we have had two periods, in 2008 and recent one, COVID, when we couldn't get rice. Why? Because every country started to pull and say, listen, we're not going to supply because we have to make sure our population is safe. So it's not just about food security anymore. It's about food sovereignty. How do I ensure and guarantee that in an emergency, I can produce what I need? And one small tidbit. In 1944, do you know that Jamaica was self-sufficient in corn production? Okay? So we have to embrace the technology. The technology is the only factor that can assist us in Jamaica. It's a great leveler, so to speak, to compete with importation. So I'm excited about this because, and I'm going beyond just lettuce and tomato. I'm thinking strawberries and grapes and you name it, because those are the major imports that come into the tourism industry that we have to tackle. And the way I look at importation is that every dollar I spend to buy something from overseas, if I put that dollar in the pocket of a Jamaican farmer, the multiplier effect of that is just tremendous. The multiplier effect of agriculture is 2 to 1. Every dollar you put into agriculture, you get back $2. The multiplier effect for tourism is 0.05. You put $1 in, you get 5 cents, 10 cents, whatever, around that ballpark. So the value added in tourism is not a whole lot, right? The only way you get that value added is the connections with agriculture, with industry, with manufacturing, so to speak. So this for me is ballpark, Corinne. It's right in the middle of where we are, and in our pivot, as I've said to you. So I look forward to the collaboration, look forward to the competition, look forward to working with the team, but also look forward to using this as a catalyst to transforming significant aspects of the tourism industry, so we can start to really feed ourselves. Thank you.
I see a standing ovation for Dr. Deslanders, and I feel your passion, sir. I felt like I should take notes. Those were some very important bits of information that's inspiring to hear, that we really need to get more involved in agriculture in our country. And Dr. Brown, you heard the big award, applause that his students gave him when he came up. We're gonna work on ours, right? But it's really very important that Case is doing this work, and I love the passion and vision of your leader. We will now hear from Senator the Honorable Marlon Morgan. He's the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information, representing the Education Minister. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, VP Garfield Young. Good morning, everyone. Permit me, even though he had to slip out just now, to specially recognize my colleague, members of the political executive, Dr. the Honorable Andrew Wheatley and the Honorable Franklin Witter. I must also specially recognize and salute Dr. Brown, your very own Dr. Brown, for this initiative, and in equal measure, my good friend Dr. Derek Dennis Landes, out of Case as well. So, gentlemen, take a bow. This is an important morning, ladies and gentlemen, students in particular, contestants. I see you're looking all smart and rearing to go, and this morning is a big deal, not no ordinary dibby-dibby business. If you look at your program outline, and you see the ministers and the ministries that are participating at this morning's event, it gives you a clear sense of join-up government in action, and it underscores the importance of what we are embarked on here this morning. The Jamaicans Educate and AgriTech initiative. You see representation on the education side. There's representation on the science and technology side in the person of our newly minted Minister with responsibility for science and education and technology. And of course, you will have a video feature, I gather, at some point later this morning from our Agriculture Minister, but also our keynote is the State Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Frank Witter. So it gives you a sense as to how cross-cutting what we are embarked on this morning is about. I was a bit delayed in my arrival this morning because just next door at the UWI's regional headquarters, the ministry was presenting, as it were, its report card in relation to education transformation, which is very important business, ladies and gentlemen. Consequent on the education transformation that was undertaken, and it culminated in what is referred to loosely as the Patterson Report, the Professor Orlando Patterson Report, we have since established what is called an Education Transformation Oversight Committee, yes, chaired by Dr. Adrian Stokes. And so they were just presenting at a quarterly press briefing key outtakes and, of course, key updates as to the quarter spanning July, August, and September, just across the road from where we are here at UTech. But in education and in terms of the design and thrust of our curriculum, ladies and gentlemen, we underscore and emphasize what are referred to commonly as 4 C's. The first C speaks to communication. Another C speaks to critical thinking. Another one speaks to creativity. And then there's one that speaks importantly, ladies and gentlemen, to collaboration. As you will appreciate and imagine, institutions of higher learning are engaged in competition. They are competing for you as students. But what is admirable about this Jamaicans Eat initiative that we're here to celebrate and affirm this morning is that both the University of Technology Jamaica and the College of Agriculture, Science and Education have carved out a space for collaboration. Very, very important. Because the truth is, education broadly and of course, the academy, what we refer to as the academy, where intellectual thought and research and applied research are brought to bear, are important elements in national development. In other words, if we are going to study, interrogate, and address the challenges that confront Jamaican society, the academy, Dr. Brown and Dr. Deslandes, have to play a lead role in that. Because in whatever we do, we have to be data-driven, research-based, and of course, empirically based as well. And so it's very important for the academy to play an important role in national development, because you best believe the government and indeed the political directorate doesn't purport to be the repositors or the repository of all ideas and knowledge and approaches to problem solving. And so if as a country we're going to be solving the challenges, yes, and overcoming the hurdles that confront us, we're going to have to look to institutions of higher learning, and of course you, our students, who not too long from now will go out across Jamaica and into the various sectors across the country and make your own mark. And that is why having you here today and ensuring that the competition goes well is such a big deal and very, very important. I'm recognizing that we have a number of millennials among us. And some of you may not be so familiar with one of the hits back in the 1980s. It was Black Uhuru, who did have a hit song back in the day where him say, to get a hit, you have to fit, you have to fit. Right? And to get a start, you have to smart. You have to smart. Very important. And I'm starting here to make the point that if you consider and focus attention on what Corinne, the director here at UTech, and of course Dr. Deslandes outlined just now, as to how game-changing AgriTech is, certainly in the Jamaican context, when you consider the marketplace that we have to cater to, and where we are in terms of domestic production, and when you consider the technology that holds vistas in navigating and solving those challenges that confront us, you get the clear sense that a fit and appropriately responding education system is a key part of the puzzle. Some years ago, I was in the business in supporting the work of former education ministers, writing several speeches. And I recall every so often, we would make the point about the fourth industrial revolution and the fact that it is in the offing. Well, the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, the fourth industrial revolution, they are now. We're living it. And Industrial Revolution 5.0 is beckoning. Yes? So it gives you a sense as to how important it is for our education system to be responding and to be agile, nimble, responsive, and situationally appropriate and relevant. And my part of the work this morning is to speak a bit to, and I'll use the next few minutes so to do, what we're doing on the education side in that regard, because my good friend Dr. Wheatley will share with you, of course, in relation to science and technology. And Uncle Frank will treat with the mainstream agriculture side of the equation. So you see, join up government literally manifesting before your eyes. You know, it is often said that one definition of insanity, madness, is doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. And that is why it is important for us to approach the challenges that confront our education sector with new and novel perspectives and ideas and interventions. We would have started some years ago with a curricula that seeks to prioritize what are called critical thinking skills. not just the routine rote learning, and of course the regurgitation of material. We're seeking to do what persons who are steep in science and technology know about, which is interrogating things critically and just applying and exhibiting critical thought. And that is what the PEP, via the National Standards Curriculum, seeks, ladies and gentlemen, to emphasize and underscore. And in terms of the government and the strategy of the administration, STEM is in sharp focus. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are the future. There are areas that, regrettably, Jamaica has not had a legacy of distinguishing itself in these areas. And so there's a degree of catching up that we're doing. But the important point is that if you are to get from point A to point B, or indeed point Z ultimately, you must start somewhere. And that is why it is important that though some observers may consider Jamaica as having started late, we are on the road to building capacity and ramping up our presence in relation to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Dr. Brown will tell you that UTech has been doing it for the past, 60 or so years? And that is good. And now what is required is more of a mainstreaming of it, making it more fashionable, making it more relatable. The kind of idea that Ricardo Chambers exhibits, the kind of innovation and creativity that he exhibits. We want more of you as students coming out of Case and Nakalva, Sydney Pagan agricultural schools, and indeed schools across the length and breadth of Jamaica. We want more of you to be exhibiting similar creativity in solving the problems or the challenges that confront us here in the present. Because if we are to be good in the future, there are some interventions that we need here in the present. And as a government, one of the starting points is building out STEM. And on the education side, we are building out STEM as it relates to having schools that are dedicated to STEM education incorporated. Schools that will teach our young people and prioritize this area as an area for focused attention. Because if we want more of our young people to come out and do what Ricardo and others do and can relate to, it is good to give them a platform on which so to do. And so there are 6 STEM academies that will be constructed across Jamaica. One of them is not too far in terms of the procurement process from essentially being built out. And we're delighted that there are others at respective locations across the island that before long, 2 will come on stream, and those will be critical in addition to what is happening generally throughout the school system in respect of this important area, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Just 2 weeks ago, the Hart Estate Trust would have spearheaded World Skills over in Western Jamaica at the Montego Bay Convention Center. That is also another game-changing aspect. We're seeking to raise the profile from an education and training standpoint here in Jamaica vis-a-vis STEM. Because as we know, Jamaicans are, people who like things that are fashionable and trendy and on the cutting edge. And so, if we are going to make STEM fashionable and trendy, it's important for us to mainstream it, raise the profile of it, and have access more widely available and more readily available. And we have to commend the Hart Estate Trust and the Ministry of Education generally in that regard. And as I wrap up, I want to touch on another very, very important matter from the education and training side of the equation. If we are to have our young people undergoing programs of study and interfacing with a curriculum at the STEM high schools, you have to have the people to teach them the things them, no so? And so, one of the areas of focused attention as well is on building that capacity from a pedagogy standpoint, the teaching standpoint. We want enterprising young men and young women like yourselves at CASE and elsewhere to be able to go into the classroom, ignite passion, and of course, unlock potential of our students. Because if they are to come out and be the Elon Musks or the Warren Buffetts and the Bill Gates of tomorrow, they will have to be under your tutelage, under your care, and benefit from your instruction ultimately. And so the government is delighted that we have continued to provide scholarships geared towards STEM education at the college level, because it's important for us to ramp up. It's a matter of strategic national investment for us to ensure that more young men and young women can take their place in the classroom and deliver instruction in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so, in addition to the STEM schools, you are having more and more youngsters at our teachers' colleges interacting with content and coming out to become STEM educators. And so, as I come down, I just want to assure you, as the future of Jamaica, the young men and young women who will go on to make your mark, whether in agriculture or in other aspects of national life, you can rest assured that the government is being responsive, the government is being forward-looking and forward-thinking, and we're providing the requisite platform in terms of the instruction from a teaching standpoint, and of course the learning and assimilation from the school standpoint and the student standpoint to make it all happen. I want to commend Dr. Brown, Dr. Deslandes, Corinne and the team, and all the persons who have made today possible. And even as it happens on this convenient and auspicious day, World Food Day, a day that you can appreciate, that I have a considerable appreciation for. Yes? It's very important. So, colleagues, I may have to slip out a bit earlier because the ministry is embarked just now on its own strategic planning in response to the budget call, and it's happening across New Kingston. And so at some point in the course of the morning, I will have to slip out for that. But I must really thank you for having us to situate in this discussion the education side of the beat. And I'm delighted to have joined you here, and I wish for the contestants all the best. Bring your best foot forward, bring your best game forward, put your best foot forward, and deliver. As Dr. Deslandes has said, ensure that the solutions you devise are fit for purpose and are able to be scaled. Thank you so much for having me. All the best.
Thank you, Senator. As we continue with the remarks, Senator, you're not leaving just yet, right? Okay. We invite to the podium the Minister with responsibility for science, technology, and special projects, science and technology, Dr. Brown. Sounds like our minister. Dr. the Honorable Andrew Wheatley, welcome to the podium, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Garfield Young. My colleague, Minister Frank Whittle, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Mining. The newly minted Senator Marlon Morgan, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Youth, Information, and a number of other things. As usual, you are very eloquent. And if we had allowed Marlon, he would continue speaking for the rest of the day. And of course, he would make sense. That is Marlon. He stated earlier that he has written a number of speeches, presentations. In fact, in the early days, he used to write my speeches as well. Dr. Kevin Brown, President of the University of Technology. I must commend you, Dr. Brown, and your team for pushing the University of Technology forward. You have taken up the reins of this university, and I have seen over the last couple of years a more invigorated team at UTech. Your presence is not only within the traditional space that UTech is normally associated with, but we are seeing UTech spreading its wings across the length and breadth of Jamaica, and I must add, across the region as well. My good friend, Dr. Derek Deslandes, president of the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE. You know, Dr. Deslandes and I, we were at one point colleagues at the University of the West Indies. I was a senior lecturer and a research scientist then. And we had to interact quite often. And I must say, Doc, you know, we are seeing the work at CASE. CASE has moved from just being an institution that we believe just produce teachers of agriculture for secondary institutions and even primary institutions. But we are seeing now CASE looking like the institution it was meant to be, a problem-solving, technologically based institution that seeks to, you know, propel agriculture to the next level. Ms. Corinne Martin, what can I say? This initiative is one that I believe will unleash the innovative capacity of our people, especially the participants this morning over the course of this event. Damien Cummins, distinguished representatives from Microsoft, members of the academic community, students, young innovators, industry partners, stakeholders, and of course, members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a very long run-up. And I don't like cricket really, you know, because the West Indies board, I'm just a lose so much match. But it's nevertheless a run-up. Good morning, everyone. I must start by saying that it is a distinct pleasure today to be at this launch, Jamaicans Eat. This is not just a program, but I believe it's a technology transfer initiative. So I must commend the organizers. Now, in recent times, as a matter of fact, just a month ago, I was tasked with the responsibility for science, technology, and special projects. And I must add that I'm here to speak about something fundamental to this initiative's success, this Jamaican Eats initiative. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, the innovation ecosystem that makes agricultural transformation possible. Dr. Deslandes spoke about infusing technology. Farming is not what it used to be 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. Someone earlier spoke about Jamaica being self-sufficient prior to independence. What has caused us not to still be in that state? Is it that we have not moved with the times as it relates to how agriculture is now seen? In fact, traditional agriculture is not sexy, and that is the harsh reality, and that is why most of our young people are moving away from that. The fact that now we are at a critical juncture where technology is critical for our agricultural survival, maybe then we will bring back the sexiness to farming, bring back the sexiness to agriculture. And I can tell you, sexiness sells. Right? If you look at what is happening around us in terms of the ads and even social media, a little sexiness draws attention. And the sexiness that I'm talking about is infused in technology. So don't go too left with that one. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme transforming Jamaica's agricultural sector through technology speaks directly to the core mission of our science, technology, and innovation policy framework. You know, my colleague, Minister Witter, will address the agricultural sector and the strategy that will be employed to infuse technology. And I must share something with you guys. At the first cabinet meeting, the Prime Minister was very deliberate when he said that, listen, and they didn't know anything about this AgriTech thing. He was very deliberate and gave instruction that we must become self-sufficient again from an agricultural perspective, and that we must infuse technology. Myself and Minister Green got the look that the agricultural sector must play a pivotal role in Jamaica's ability to sustain itself. You know, a speaker earlier spoke about COVID and how at that time countries prioritize themselves. We have to have that level of independence so that we can prioritize what is in our best interest as a people and as a country. And I believe agriculture, feeding ourselves, is one form of independence that we need to, get back to. That, we talk about independence and we celebrate 60 or 65, how many years of independence. But we're not truly independent if we cannot feed ourselves. That is just the harsh reality. If we have to continue to rely on imports, food, and we have so much horrible lands around us, then something is wrong. But I guess, we are at a stage where we're bringing back the sexiness through technology, that we should see and open and create an environment that more young people in particular gravitate towards participating in the agricultural sector. I want to focus on technology and innovation infrastructure right now. And this is very important because that is what is going to lead to this transformation. This event, ladies and gentlemen, embodies what our national STI policy calls collaborative engagement across various sectors to facilitate the integration of science, technology, and innovation within our broad development agenda. Marlon Morgan spoke to that. But ladies and gentlemen, when we see UTech, Microsoft volunteers, and CASE coming together, we are witnessing our innovation ecosystem in action. Our National Science, Technology, and Innovation Policy explicitly identifies agriculture as a priority area. Not because, we are an agriculture ministry. No, we leave that up to Frank and Floyd. But because STI must serve as the enabling framework for all productive sectors. That is the harsh reality, that where we are as a society, where the world is at, where the world is heading, STI is at the core. Our role, ladies and gentlemen, is to ensure that the research infrastructure, the technology platforms, the innovation funding mechanisms, and the human capital development systems are in place to support transformation across the economy. For AgriTech, this means several things from an STI policy perspective. And I'm going to just touch on three such perspectives. First, strengthening research and development capacity. We are working to ensure that our universities and research institutions are the facilities, equipment, and qualified personnel, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why we need these teaching institutions to produce these personnel to conduct cutting-edge agricultural research. This includes supporting the institutions like the Scientific Research Council, the International Center for Environmental and Nuclear Sciences, the ICENS. Again, we need to start to look at infusing nuclear energy in our energy mix. That is something that now we will be exploring in the next couple of years. Ensure that we produce personnel with the requisite skill set to participate in nuclear energy, and also to educate our citizens as to the safety or the safe use of nuclear energy. In fact, a lot days gone by when you mention nuclear energy or a nuclear reactor, it was thought of as something that you use in warfare. Now, we must appreciate the benefits of nuclear energy. That is a part of the whole matter of being self-sufficient, where we do not rely on whether oil price is going up or down. Although we need renewables like solar and wind, those things are what you call dependent on other factors, whether you have a cloud cover or whether the wind stops blowing or not. Those are intermittent sources of energy. Very good, clean energy, but they are intermittent, and as such comes with its own associated problems, such as storage, which is very expensive at this time. The second perspective is building the digital infrastructure. We are talking about infusing technology, but the harsh reality is that we have to create not only the framework, but have the infrastructure that is able to support the advancement and the infusion of technology in our lives. And as a country, as a government, we are committed to that. Agricultural technology increasingly depends on digital platforms. Dr. Desland has alluded to that earlier as to the work that is being done at CASE. And I'm sure, this Jamaicans Eat initiative will open up our minds to appreciate the use of technology as well. We have IoT sensors being a critical component of agriculture, data analytics, artificial intelligence. Again, we have a special responsibility through the AI task force to infuse and appreciate AI. Because again, it is something that is not common, it is upon us. And as a government, we have a responsibility to ensure that we educate and prepare our people to utilize AI to again unleash that indigenous, innovative capacity that resides within our people. Again, going back to the infrastructure, supply chain, blockchain. That is how you manage our logistics now as it relates to production to distribution. Our work, ladies and gentlemen, in expanding broadband connectivity, promoting digital literacy, and creating supportive ICT policies directly enables these agricultural applications. The third perspective, and I believe very important, seeing the number of young people in this auditorium, is fostering the innovation or the innovative ecosystem. That is going to drive us to the next level. Through initiatives, ladies and gentlemen, like the Ignite Innovation Grant Program, administered by the Development Bank of Jamaica, we are creating funding pathways for technology-based startups. So Dr. Desland, is you talk, every few sentences you said earlier, talk about funding. Maybe you can direct some of your innovators to the DBJ. There you go. So government is providing some avenues and some funding. And so that is something I hope that the young entrepreneurs, the young innovators, and even not so young like myself, who are looking for some level of funding, we can also seek DBJ and other government grants. We cannot expect the grants to come to us. We will publicize, but you will need to ensure that you apply and put in place the what is required for you to gain access to these funds. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also working as part of fostering the innovation ecosystem, establishing innovation hubs and technology parks that provide the physical and institutional infrastructure where researchers, entrepreneurs, and industry can collaborate. You know, Mr. Morgan spoke about STEM. STEM education is the cornerstone of our STI policy. We have to create or develop youths, students, with that level of appreciation to participate in this space that we are talking about. We talk about STEM, it's not the STEM that is on a tree. It is beyond that. It is the STEM that is going to drive us to real prosperity. It is the STEM that is going to ensure that Jamaica continues to shine, to play its part. You know, the national anthem, when I was repeating the national anthem earlier, there's something, that struck me, that we have a responsibility to play our part in advancing what? Is the national, the whole human race. So it's not Jamaica alone. So we have a role to play, and we have to ensure that we continue to produce students who are equipped, educated along the line of STEM to play a critical role in ensuring that we are on the cutting edge of development. I must add, ladies and gentlemen, that the partnership model demonstrated by Jamaicans deserves special emphasis. Microsoft's involvement brings global technological expertise and resources. UTech Jamaica provides the academic foundation and research capability. CASE contributes deep domain expertise in the agricultural science. Ladies and gentlemen, together they create something greater than the sum of their parts. This is the model Jamaica is actively promoting through our STI policy. The path forward. That is our commitment, ladies and gentlemen. You know, as we launch Jamaicans Eat Today, I want to outline several commitments from the science and technology portfolio. And Dr. Brown, I think you and your team will be interested in these commitments because, you know, every time you mention my name, you say, I am responsible for what is important to UTech at this time. We are committed, ladies and gentlemen, to increasing investment in research and development by 2029. This funding will support exactly the kind of applied research that translates into agricultural innovation. I am a scientist, and I believe firmly in R&D. This is something that is lacking in our private sector, that we do not invest in R&D. We do not invest in research and development. We are more like distributors. We do not invest in creating. We have so much things that are indigenous to us, but we do not invest in terms of research to bring to the next level. But we are glad to bite back when someone comes here and develop on it, and even label it as their own. I do hope that, you know, the private sector will follow suit and support government in investing in R&D through the universities or other research institutions, or opening up within their own space a research and development sector or department, whatever they will call it, that fits into their model. If you look at most, if not all, the successful companies overseas, they have a research and development arm. And that is something that we need to now elevate to as a people. We are committed, ladies and gentlemen, to strengthening STEM education at all levels. from primary schools through tertiary institutions, ensuring that young Jamaicans have the skills to participate in and lead our technology-driven economy. We are committed to modernizing our ICT infrastructure and policies to ensure that digital technologies can be deployed effectively across all sectors, including agriculture. We are committed, ladies and gentlemen, to creating supportive policies and programs that enable researchers and innovators to translate their discoveries, their ideas into commercial applications and real-world impact. And we are committed, ladies and gentlemen, to fostering the collaborative partnerships like the one that we are celebrating today that make innovation ecosystem thrive. In concluding, ladies and gentlemen, the transformation of Jamaica's agricultural sector through technology is not just an agricultural story. It's a science and technology story. We are owning it as well as scientists and technologists. So, Frank, agriculture will not be the same. It cannot be the same. We are also staking claim by providing the necessary support to move agriculture from the traditional form of agriculture to the cutting-edge, technology-driven agriculture that will be sustainable for us as a people. We are committed to unleashing innovation. Our young people, they are the future, and so we have to train them up. And institutions like AgriTech and opportunities like Jamaican Eats opens up the minds of our young people for them to unleash that innovative capacity. And I said it is indigenous to Jamaicans. We must move from being mere consumers of technology. We must move from being mere consumers of foods that we import to becoming innovators of technology that not only Jamaicans will use, but others. We must also infuse technology in agriculture so that we produce more than we can consume and export. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what will be unleashed today through Jamaican Eats. Jamaicans eat, not Jamaican eats. You know, I was told that Corinne emphasized that it is Jamaicans and not Jamaican. And Jamaicans must rally around AgriTech to ensure we play our part in advancing the whole human race. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, again. And to the participants, all the best. And I'm sure that this event will be a success.
Thank you, Minister. You mentioned AI, Minister, and I don't think Professor Thorpe would forgive me if I did not mention, nor Dr. Brown, that the National AI Lab will be launched here next week, and there is a link with AI. You have made that clear. In fact, I'm a geospatial specialist, and almost every year when I supervise research, there is a link between, for example, drone technology and agriculture. And so we are researching it. I also, Minister, chair the master plan working group at UTech. Dr. Brown is very excited about what our university will look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years. And one of the things we plan to do to make the statement that research is important to us is that at the top, physically at the top of each of our academic structures, will be our research centers. They will look like a STEM institution. They will look techy. They will look, I'm trying to avoid using your word, Minister. Yes, but you will drive up in Papine and you will say that's a STEM institution, and research is an important part of what we do. So I took notes, Minister, of all. I didn't get all of them, but it's recorded, the commitment of your ministry. And UTech is going to ensure that we follow up. Dr. Brown, you and I will make sure that we follow up on all of these commitments, which is really very important for all of these students who are here looking bright and enthusiastic, but for entire country, for sustainability. Ms. Martin, thank you so much for your enthusiasm and your vision. I don't think our technology team is going to fail us, but we have a message from the Minister of Agriculture. We won't have you much longer. A message from the Minister of Agriculture by video. I don't see it being shared yet. And following that, we will... Right, so the Minister is here.
The Honourable Matthew Samuda, Minister of Water, Environment and Climate Change, Dr. the Honourable Andrew Wheatley, Minister with responsibility for science in the Office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Kevin Brown, President of the University of Technology, Dr. Stubbs, the Head of the School of Engineering here at UTech. Other specially invited guests, especially members of the Jamaica Education AgriTech Program, Jamaicans Eat, Dr. Derek Deslandes, the President of CASE, members of the media. Good morning, everybody. Today I join you all the way from Rome because, as Dr. Deslandes indicated, when we are launching a technology initiative, there should be no reason that I can't join virtually to share in such a momentous occasion. Let me start by wishing you all Happy World Food Day. Today we celebrate agriculture. Today we celebrate the Food and Agriculture Organization, where I'm at the headquarters as we join in the rest of the world celebrating 80 years of working together to try to ensure that we eliminate hunger and that all our countries are more food secure. This initiative could not have chosen a better day to launch on, because this is the next chapter of agriculture. A chapter which focuses on innovation, on technology, on entrepreneurs, but importantly, on bringing youth into the agricultural space to secure our food for the future. As the theme suggests today for World Food Day, hand in hand we can work to create better food and a better future. And this Jamaicans Eat initiative is directly aligned with the vision of the ministry as we move to ensure that we infuse technology in what we do. We have been crafting a new face of food, where we focus on food security, agribusiness development, climate smart technology, and export expansion. But in order to do so, we have to build a more resilient agricultural sector. We have to build a more technology-driven agriculture sector. And we have to build a sector that's based on partnership. UTech has been a stellar institution in Jamaica's history for driving technology, for driving innovation. And now you have pulled together some of our best agripreneurs, pre-labs, chambers, hydro farms, and also international partners like Microsoft to look at how can we ensure that in this changing climate reality, that agriculture can still strive. I'm sure Minister Samuda has brought you through our climate realities. We see them, we live them, and as such, we have to do something about them. So the fact that we will be focusing on through Jamaicans Eat, on hydroponics, on the Internet of Things, on automation, on ensuring that at our secondary level, our students will be exposed to these forms of technology is again in direct alignment with the mission of the ministry to embark on a new era of transformation and resilience. So we endorse and support this project, and we'll work with the team to see how we can effectively scale it up. Already, through our Rural Youth Empowerment Program, we have been engaging more of our young people around the business of agriculture. And last year, we launched our business grant component, where our young agripreneurs were able to pitch for $1 million towards their agricultural enterprise. Again, we have been using the 4-H movement to support our school gardens and to ensure that at the secondary level and at the primary level, our children are exposed to the practical side of agriculture. But again, there has to be a greater infusion of technology. I had previously announced that we want to ensure that at least one high school in each parish is a center of excellence for agriculture. And I think we should align the Jamaica Eats initiative around this push for the ministry so that when we go into the school to set up our hydroponic systems and ensure that they have the Internet of Things and they are driving automation, that the ministry is also providing the technical support for other areas of agriculture. And this is a commitment that I give today, that we can work together in that regard. Additionally, you have heard that we will be working with ECO to develop our first ever agricultural fab lab to focus on initiatives like this: innovation, automation, virtual reality, and using that to train our young people in agriculture. I want to see, President Brown, how we can partner with AgriTech. You already have models for these fab labs. How can we partner to ensure that the things that are developed in our new fab lab will be practical, will have the reach to truly transform agriculture? I must say, these are the projects that I like, that takes the university outside of the walls of the campuses, carries it into schools, into farms, and ensure that we transform agriculture. So this has my full support and the ministry's full support. This is in direct alignment with building resilience. And it may have passed us, but we are building some resilience. In fact, for the first half of this year, Jamaica has hit its highest ever production numbers for domestic production. And that is despite going through Hurricane Barry last year. Projects like these will only enhance that resilience and ensure that we hit our target of 1 million tons of domestic production by 2028. We are in this together. So on World Food Day, I commend AgriTech, I commend all the partners on launching this Jamaica Eat initiative. And we will work together to continue to drive agriculture and to ensure that wherever our farmers are, they are introduced to this innovation. Finally, this is a big win for our young people. And as we drive to ensure that more of our youth get involved in agriculture, I say to the University of Technology, I say to the Jamaica Eats team, let us pull together the Jamaica 4-H Club and join in this drive. Jamaica is the country that is in charge of the regional youth strategy. And as such, I also want to see how we can expand this once we have gone through our first few phases across the region, because we are looking for food sovereignty all over our region. So today is a good day. Jamaica is stronger because of this initiative. And as we celebrate World Food Day, Jamaicans Eat will ensure that we have the food to eat for years to come. Thank you.
That was the Minister of Agriculture, Honorable Floyd Green, and with the technology for sure, he's here even if he's not physically here. So we're happy to hear from the Minister. We won't have you much longer, and the participants in the training and the competition will remain after the closing ceremony. I'm going to invite, with the keynote address, the Honorable Franklin Witter, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. Honorable Witter, I invite you to the podium. Make him welcome, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. I know that Dr. Wheatley would have left, and also Senator Morgan would have left, and also our president. I want to also acknowledge Dr. Deslandes, who is always passionate about agriculture. Dr. Shalon Stubbs, head of School of Engineering. Ms. Corey Martin, director of Jamaica Education, AgriTech, Jamaica Eat program. Other distinguished persons who are here today, ladies and gentlemen, students, members of the media, good morning to you all. I know it's a long morning, and I will try to be as brief as I can. I know you would have heard from Minister Green already, but I just want to extend the apologies for him. I know he would want to be here in person, but as he mentioned in his presentation, he's far away in Europe. But I just want to say that I'm very happy to be here this morning to be sharing in this very, very important initiative. And, you know, many years ago, over 40 years ago, this institution was one that I really wanted to attend. My sister attended classes here, and I had an interest also, but I ended up somewhere else. So I'm very happy for this opportunity this morning to be sharing in this exercise, notwithstanding that my chances would have gone 40 odd years ago. But it is very important that I'm here today, and I'm very happy to be sharing in this bold initiative. Today, we are here to kickstart the Jamaica Education AgriTech Eat Jamaica program. A forward-thinking response to the challenges posed by climate change. We would have had a very, very harsh experience last year with the passage of Hurricane Beryl. And also further in that year, we had the passage of another storm. And all those events would have been as a result of what the world is experiencing now in relation to climate change. And therefore, I think it is important that we look forward to our innovation in technology and to adapt to the climate reality. And part of the adaptation really is to look at using greater technology and automation. And I think that is part of the reason why we are here today. The Jamaica Eat initiative being undertaken under the theme Transforming Jamaica's Agriculture through Technology coincides with the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining new Face of Food agenda, which focuses on strategic plans for food security, agribusiness development, climate smart technology, and the expansion of export. Through Jamaica's Eat, we see a dynamic platform being provided by connecting engineering, agriculture, and climate resilience that will develop the next generation of young agri-tech investors who will drive Jamaica's agriculture transformation through technology. This initiative aims to lessen the impact of climate change on the Jamaica's agricultural system while transforming youth perceptions of agriculture through technology-driven solution. It establishes a collaborative framework among the private sector, government, and educational institutions, creating a model of agricultural innovation that combines academic learning with practical application. This, ladies and gentlemen, is truly commendable, and I implore all stakeholders to put their full support behind this initiative. The ministry is serious about its role in transforming agriculture and encouraging youth participation in the sector. We have been making significant investment towards developing our capacity, especially in relation to technology. This looks like allocating substantial funding towards research and mechanizing the sector. We have to start with research because it is the seed that is necessary to facilitate growth in the sector. And I listened to Dr. Wheatley's intervention in relation to the importance of technology and what the government is doing through his ministry to ensure that we can infuse technology in our agricultural operations here in Jamaica. Recognizing this, we are currently investing, the ministry is currently investing over 6 billion Jamaican dollars in the rehabilitation of our research stations. This is because our research and development division is involved in an initiative of great importance to Jamaica's agricultural sector, such as assessing, enhancing, and conserving crop genetics material. These initiatives include hot pepper breeding, genetic characterization of cassava, turmeric, and sweet potato, evaluation of cocoa varieties for disease resistance. And I think some of our students who are here from CASE will be familiar with the challenges that we face in the recent past in respect of the frosty pod disease in cocoa. We are seeking now to rehabilitate that. And this is part of our initiative in terms of developing our research capabilities. Additionally, we are placing special focus on improving the genetic makeup of livestock species to increase production, productivity, and adaptability to the local environment. To this end, we have embarked on the Jamaica Hope Rehabilitation Project to restore genetic and improve milk production of the first breed of indigenous cattle developed in Jamaica, the Jamaica Hope. And I know Dr. Deslandis always have a great interest in that area. Furthermore, through public-private partnership, plans are underway to conduct a project aimed at preserving, resuscitating, and upgrading other indigenous cattle breeds, including the Jamaica Red Pole, the Jamaica Black, and the Jamaican Brahman. Similarly, there's a special focus on our small ruminants. We are looking to boost Jamaica's self-sufficiency in meat production and overall food security through a small ruminant development program. Under this program, imported animals will be distributed to farmers to enhance genetic composition and their herds through breeding and the introduction of improved breeds. Ladies and gentlemen, these undertakings ensure that we can achieve improved yield and quality, boost our market competitiveness, and strengthen our resistance to pests, disease, and climate shocks. Beyond research, we must address the need for efficiency in the sector. We all understand that agricultural work is not easy and is often very tedious for our small farmers. There is also the fact that our farmers can sometimes encounter difficulty in securing labor. As most of us are aware, we are in a situation in Jamaica now where we are having a challenge in relation to our labor force. The answer to this is really mechanization. In fact, just recently, through a strategic partnership with the European Union under the A Jamaican Party Hills to Ocean project, we were able to acquire 4 new rubber wheel tractors at a cost of over $43 million to be stationed in 4 parishes to improve our output in terms of agricultural production and agricultural productivity. These will serve our farmers, particularly in those engaged in the hillside farming in parishes like Trelawney, St. Andrew, St. Anne, and St. Mary. This is just one example of the ministry's broader effort to mechanize the sector, which continues to be a major focus. Back in April of this year, Minister Green outlined that we are looking to allocate approximately $60 million towards acquiring agricultural drones with spraying, seeding, and surveillance capabilities, as well as multiple compact farm tractors, seed and tuber planters, and harvesters. We want to ensure that we continue to ease the burden associated with agricultural work. On the same matter, we are also heavily engaged in digital transformation, which is of great importance. We must ensure that as digital technology continues to improve, agriculture adapts accordingly. As such, several entities across the ministry have developed and utilized digital platforms to increase farmers' engagement with the ministry's services, improve access to agricultural information and findings, and enhance the efficiency of conducting business. One of the most recent examples is our new RADA app, which allows farmers to access crop monitoring techniques, pest control strategies, and sustainable farming practices right at their fingerprints, thereby increasing access to extension-related services. There is also our critical animal identification and traceability system. Our research and development division currently utilizes an animal tracking system involving the use of animal collards to trace physical location and monitor body temperatures. The system also includes herd management software to digitize cattle records, that is birth, death, pedigree records, milking, veterinary assessment, animal husband techniques, etc. Notwithstanding the significance of all that I've said so far, I want to emphasize that it would be all for naught without you, our participants here today. Yes, there is no future in agriculture without our young people. alongside technological and research efforts supporting and including our youth in agriculture is of paramount importance. And I want to emphasize that, notwithstanding the observation made by Minister Wheatley earlier in relation to the issue of the participation of young people in agriculture and how we want to make it more sexy so that young people would want to be engaged. I want to say today that notwithstanding that observation, the Jamaica, our average age of participation in agriculture is age 47, which is much better than the world average, which is about age 60. So we are doing well in terms of participation of our young people in agriculture. And these initiatives will now cause us to be even more competitive in that regard. We have several initiatives underway, primarily through the ministry's youth arm, the Jamaica 4-H Club, to achieve this mandate. We want to see young people developed in agriculture. One of our major initiatives is the Rural Youth Economic Empowerment Program, REAP. This initiative aims to enhance the capacity of youth to manage agricultural business and expand the number of viably youth-led enterprises, thereby enhancing food security. It provides alternatives for unemployed youth, particularly in rural communities, by engaging them in meaningful agricultural activities. The program is divided into 2 categories. REAP Starter, which provides training and venture inputs to new entrants to agriculture, and the REAP Builder, which supports existing youth entrepreneurs with inputs, training, certification, coaching, and enterprise kits to expand and sustain their agribusinesses. A key focus of the REAP program is the promotion of technology in production and in the repositioning of agriculture as a value chain with multiple entry points beyond just traditional farming. And that is one of the issues that we are facing in Jamaica in terms of agriculture. And when we talk about importation and how much food we import, part of the reason why we are dependent so much on importation is because we are lacking in terms of our ability to add value added, food processing and so on. That is part of our major challenge. And we want to focus on that so that we'll be able to bridge that gap in terms of our importation of food. A key focus of the REAP program is the promotion of technology in production and the repositioning of value added. This was best embodied during our innovative REAP National Agribusiness Pitch competition, which culminated in June of this year. It is a groundbreaking initiative designed to inspire innovation, build entrepreneurial confidence, and connect youth with mentorship and investment opportunities. The competition was so successful that the 2 young women walked away with the top prize of $1 million. Outside of initiatives of this nature, the ministry recognizes that collaboration with tertiary institutions and the provision of scholarship are pivotal to driving innovation and development in research and agricultural technology, as well as building enterprise, developing future leaders, and fostering professional growth in the agricultural sector. As such, we have engaged the University of Technology to explore potential areas of partnership aligned with the ministry's objectives and UTEC's capabilities to advance agricultural research and development. We have also launched our FACE Jamaica Agricultural Scholarship, which will support students in the agricultural field to continue advancement of agriculture, fisheries, and mining in Jamaica, such as biometrics and agricultural data analysis, crop sciences, and sustainable production systems. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, the Jamaicans Eat initiative is of national importance and directly supports the food security and climate smart technology pillars of the new face of food. The ministry endorses this forward-thinking initiative and will continue to play its role in mechanizing the sector, fostering digital transformation, and strengthening youth involvement in agriculture. I look forward to this continued collaboration and cooperation as we seek to ensure that we have food security in Jamaica. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Minister. May I invite you to stand here, Minister? And I am going to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Computing, Professor Sean Thorpe, to make a presentation to you, which is a tangible way of saying thank you for being our keynote speaker at this important event. And we have noted your commitment, the commitment of your ministry.
I don't know if you want me to make a presentation, but I like the piece about the 6 billion that you're putting in research to support the community. We should give them a round of applause for that. I'm not here to give a long speech, Professor Young. I'm here to hand over a gift as the presentation, right? So correct my academic portfolio. Yes.
Oh. Thank you, Professor Thorpe. Please remain, Minister. Minister, please remain. I was wondering if mentioning, Minister, that the average age of involvement in agriculture is 47, if it says, because my father was a farmer, coffee farmer in the Blue Mountain, and he passed at 94. And I was wondering if it means that farmers live long in Jamaica, or if simultaneously it means that the young people just not involved enough. But it means both, right? Right. But 47, when you said 47, I was alarmed, but then you made the comparison with the world average, 60, then we don't look so bad. Right. But we're going to work on it. It's going to get better because we're adding technology. Right. Ms. Martin has a presentation to make to you, Ms. Honorable Witter. We invite you to come forward, Ms. Martin. If you would like me to hold the mic, I don't know if you wish to speak.
So thank you so much for taking the time to grace this program with your presence and all of the support that you've promised to provide moving forward. And now that I know that you are also overseeing my specific parish, St. Elizabeth, we're going to have a lot of continued conversation. So thank you so much.
Ms. Martin, may I invite you to remain? So I'm making this presentation to you on behalf of UTech. I walked in the lecture theater and your vivacious energy just kind of pulled me in. We haven't met before, but it was a familiar, very familiar sense that we have met, and this is in purpose. So thank you for the energy you have brought to this. But your vision and leadership is important to this program. And when you present it with the kind of energy you do, it makes it clear that it's not only important to you, but you see how it will impact others. So thank you so much for your initiative, for your leadership. And I make this presentation to you on behalf of the University of Technology, Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? We are at the end of the launch of Jamaica Education AgriTech program and technology competition. We're not at the end of the competition, but it's the launch, right? And all of these people in their lovely case shirts, easily identifiable. There are other students here from UTech. I don't think they are uniformed, but you will remain in this room. And we're going to provide you with lunch, so I know that you must be hungry now. And if you're in a program saying Jamaicans eat, then for sure we need to make some kind of provision. There is a coffee break for the guests, but for the students involved in the training and the competition, there's a bigger meal. We will consider giving the technology team a snack too. So, ladies and gentlemen, this was an important launch. Mr. Ricardo Chambers, you kind of struck me because of what you said, Ms. Martin, when you were making the connections, that it was happening right here and it was inspirational for you to see what Mr. Chambers was doing with hydroponics. What the minister said about how technology can move us from where we currently are. We see ourselves as very limited in what we can produce. But if we think about the infusion of technology, how it can make us produce significantly more and reduce our reliance on imports, it makes me really very excited. The fact that farming is in my blood, but I live in a little space in the city, but any seed I drop, it's gonna grow anyway. And somebody whispered to me, it was the photographer who was saying it, we really should go in the mountains and live and farm the plains. But whatever the solution is, we expect that we're going to hear some innovative solutions from our young people. I've always said, I'll walk in a classroom and I say to my student, you know what educate means? It means to pull out. It suggests that something is in you to come out. So it's not just the person at the podium who is the fountain of knowledge. That's not how I want my students to see me. I want them to recognize that there's something in them to give. And that's what this competition is about. I think it's really very important. I see Dr. Paul Campbell looking at me, and he's the first one who told me about this program, and he's the reason I'm standing here. So thank you, Paul Campbell, for your leadership too, and for all the persons who participated in this program. Really very important. You heard a lot of remarks, but they are important. We heard from 3 ministries. One minister described it as joined up government. There's a connection between them. So this is the University of Technology, Jamaica. Our parent ministry is education. And Dr. Deslandis, you would agree, but the Ministry of Agriculture is clearly connected to what you do. your College of Arts, Science and Education, and we are STEM focused. What did I say? College of Arts, Science and Technology, Jamaica. You didn't correct me, Dr. Deslanders. It's because of where I am. Yeah, College of Agriculture, Science and Education. And look at the big agriculture there, and I'm making this error. The students should correct me. But so we'd like to thank Ms. Corinne Martin, Mr. Damian Cummings, who represented his head of school, Dr. Stubbs, Dr. Derek Deslandes from the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, Senator the Honorable Marlon Morgan, Dr. the Honorable Andrew Wheatley, the Honorable Floyd Green, who is somewhere in Europe, joined us virtually. We were happy to have him. And for the keynote, we thank you, the Honorable Mr. Franklin Witter, who is the Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. Thank you all. There are others involved in organizing this program, our communications team, the technology team, and for sure the people who are going to feed us after this event. So I'm going to invite the what are they called, trainees? The participants to remain in this lecture theater, and for the rest of us just to step on the outside for a coffee break. Thank you again for coming, and we are happy to host you at the University of Technology, Jamaica. Have a good rest of the day. If anybody needs a little tour of the campus, let us know.